Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Florida Boy. This is my EDC channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the TwoSun 366. Let's get into it. Okay, so I realized we were a little high, so I brought the camera down just a little. So this is a knife I picked up from a friend of mine and also a subscriber to the channel. You probably see him down in the comment section below. Z Wolfgang. He's a really good dude, and this is actually a really cool knife. I am a total sucker for Tanto style blades, and in this, style, we have a compound grind, which makes it even better. I like it. So talking about the T66 or the TS366, this guy has had quite a bit of pocket time with me. I've done a little bit of polishing on the blade, right? Yes, look at that, pretty blade. So the action, how's the action on this guy? That's always the main question, right? So in terms of deployment, it looks like we have multiple ways to deploy. I do not. I guess if you have a little bit smaller mitts than I do, I am sitting pretty close to, I would say, extra large most times on gloves. Hold on a second. My camera's all cockeyed. Hold on. Did that fix it? Better? Yeah, I think so. Okay, sorry, it was I couldn't stop staring at it. I had to fix it. Why don't you edit that out? Well, because it's less real if I edit. So, in terms of deployment, going back to what we were talking about. Yeah, so you have some notches in here. I can't quite get there with the thumb or for the reverse flick, and you can see on the backside by the liner lock, or excuse me, the frame lock. Yeah, we don't have much access there. You do get, I think, a tad more on the front, but definitely with my thumb, I can't get in there. So that's okay. You still have a pretty easy to use frame lock, right? See, we get pretty close to 50% lockup. Action is great. He's relatively fall shut. If I could go back, I'd probably use some lighter weight oil. I think maybe the oil might be keeping him from dropping shut completely. But aside from that, that's like my only small gripe for the most part. Now talking about everything else, the centering, everything is good. You see here, everything is nice and centered. Like I said, I did a little bit of polishing. That was my fault on the flip. I did a little bit of polishing on the blade. That's why it's kind of shiny. I just thought it would be cool. Why not? I was polishing some of my copper flashlights, and I was like, I'm just going to hit the blade for this. So this has had some pretty good pocket time. I've taken it apart, put it back together, cleaned it, lubed it, all that good stuff. So we have a mixture here. We have titanium, micarta, titanium. And for the blade, here you go. You have 14C 28N. Freaking great steel. Not bad at all. Really like 14C. Pretty good stuff. Aside from that, let's go into some of the things I do and don't like. So a couple things here. I wish the screws could have been a little bigger. Let's see how tiny these guys are. That's about one of my only gripes. Second thing is going to be on the show side here. This micarta right here is actually only held in by adhesive. It is not by any means. See, let's flip her around the back and see. There you go. You can see how you have a hole cut out on the liner. Well, actually, this is not even. Well, yeah, I guess that is the liner. But now this isn't a liner. This is. But if you see the hole in there, see it right there? It's hard to see. It's like they drilled it out, like they were gonna put screws in these inlays, and then didn't. So I wish they'd have done that. So that gives me an integrity issue. I feel like, at some point this is going to pop out of here and then I'm going to have to adhere it back. That is not a big deal, but it's only a big deal if I'm in the middle of using it. Then it becomes kind of a bigger deal because, it's not necessarily it's not necessarily a, what's the word I'm looking for here? Um, you get my drift. It's not necessarily something that's going to be like, okay, this fell off, I can't use it anymore for the day. But it is definitely something that you're going to be like, oh, well, that sucks. And then you're going to have some, an inlay there, not there. So you're going to have kind of a recessed hole in the side of your blade that when you're trying to hold it, my fingers are going to go right into it. And that's all speculation. That may never come off. But I was watching some videos on this guy, and I saw some people that had that issue where that little inlay popped off. So those are like my two main things, really. Like just about the only two bad things I can possibly say. Aside from you will have to Loctite your pocket clip. I had to. It kept coming loose on me. So I hit it with some Loctite and just a dab of blue. And you can see here, I'm pushing on it, getting almost no play. It does have it has a little bit. It's moving back and forth. That pocket clip's been like one of my main banes, the main bane of my existence when it comes to this knife. Aside from that, everything else is really good. Like I said, the action is very nice. It flies out with pretty good authority. The detent is very good. It's not mushy. And if we look at this, here you go. If we look at this frame lock here, whenever I'm holding this, like I'm going to flip her out, you can see here I'm not resting on the frame lock. Your little inlay on the back here kind of also works as an over travel stop for the frame lock, but it also does a good job at making sure that you don't push down on the frame lock while you are trying to deploy the knife. So that's actually a pretty cool little detail there. I'm having a hard time with words today. It's just been really, really rough. So blade shape, let's go back to this. I do like this blade shape an awful lot. You get your compound grind here. You can see, look at this. This looks great, right? Show myself off for the camera a little bit. There you go. So you can see, to me, this looks like an angry eagle. You'll never be able to unsee it now. This is the angry eagle compound grind on this Tanto blade. And I dig it, man. I dig it. I actually use this edge a whole lot. And I have not done any kind of sharpening. I've only stropped. See this? Look at this. And I really haven't done anything crazy when it comes to polishing. I just did a little bit of hand polishing. And the blade polished right up. So, the blade turned out pretty nice, actually. I'm pretty happy with it. So the jimping on the top is actually really, really good. I like that it is not, if we do this, come on, focus. There you go. So this jimping right here, really, really good. I don't know why they went all the way back. It recesses in between the liners, and you really can't touch it unless you kind of put the meat of your finger down in between I keep saying liners. We're just going to keep saying liners just because. But unless you just poke your finger down, you're really not going to see anything there. You're not going to be able to touch it. The jimping on the front, pretty good. It's not too aggressive, but it's aggressive enough that you know it's there. It can be a little slick if your hands are wet or sweaty, so keep that in mind. And choke up spot, you don't really have one. It's right there at like the sharpening choil. See, right here. So you can't really choke up a ton. Once you do that, you can feel that choil pushing into the meat of your finger. So this is going to be about your spot right here. Now you can kind of do a utility grip. Move this down a little bit. We can kind of utility grip this and kind of push out past this little groove on top. Aside from that, man, I don't think there's anything else too crazy that I'm not, that I'm not hitting. Everything, it's kind of one of those knives where everything looks good. The construction's great. Titanium, micarta, the frame lock. It's got the compound grind on the Tanto. It's got jimping. It's got over travel stop. It's kind of got all the cool stuff, but there's nothing like super crazy out there, innovative, that's different than a million other things on the market. So yeah, it's a good knife. I want to say they're right around $100 if you were to go pick one up from Smoky Mountain Knife Works whenever they are in stock. If you don't have a lot of experience with TwoSun, TwoSun makes pretty good stuff. I like TwoSun. And with this guy right here specifically, you can pick it up. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear the sirens outside, but for a second it threw me off. I was like, wait. So I don't know if you know this about TwoSun, but yes, Smoky Mountain Knife Works carries them a lot. But if you go to like eBay. That's where they sell a lot of their knives, and they auction every single one of them off, and then they send them right to you. So yeah, keep that in mind. Really, really nice. Let's go ahead and look at the blade shape here. It looks like we have a hollow grind. Looks hollow grindy to me. So yeah, this thing is slicey. It really is a slicer. Oh man, that blade polished up so nice. I definitely am not anything to write home about when it comes to polishing. It just polished pretty good. Now I might get people down there in the comments saying, "Well, that means the material is soft." Might be, might just be. I don't know. I'm not a metallurgist. I don't really know. Got the hiccups. So, this is kind of like my final review of this knife. I just wanted to keep it kind of short and sweet because, like I said, there's not a ton to write home about. But I do really, really like the knife. I carry it very, very often. I think it's very much a gentleman's knife that has a little bit of flair to it. That blade shape just is sick nasty. I love it. I'm 100%. If you ask me my favorite blade shape, I am a Tanto and Wharncliffe kind of guy. And depending on the day, I like one over the other. I would think if I'm feeling tactical for the day, I really, really like the Tanto blades. Tanto. If I am just using my blade, normal everyday stuff, I usually run my Wharncliffes. And if I want to carry a nice knife or something a little bit nicer, I like those good old drop point, spear point type blades. So it really just depends on what I'm using it for. That's when I get there. You know what I'm saying? That's when I get there and I pick out the knife I want to carry. That we all do that. I don't need to go into detail on that. So we'll do one more flyby close up on this. So here is a look. There you go. Here's your titanium frame with your micarta. The micarta is, I realize I didn't say anything about the micarta. The micarta is very, very smooth. Very smooth. It's definitely not, how you get some micarta that's very canvasy and it kind of almost feels like, what's that, like the cordage, the rope cord type, not hemp, but the other stuff like twine. It doesn't feel like it's made out of twine. So, love that. If we talk about the back right here, I realize I didn't do that. We got kind of a half back spacer down there, which is kind of cool, titanium. So the micarta, very, very nice. There's your pocket clip. Probably if you pick up this knife, it's going to be the only thing you don't like is this pocket clip. It's really not bad. It does, see, I can get under there and kind of peel it out, but aside from that, it does kind of travel, which kind of annoying, but not a big deal, really. It's not that bad. Being that it's flat, you don't have a hot spot at all. You can't even feel it, really, whenever you're holding it. You kind of feel here on the pinky, for me, because that's right where my pinky lays when I'm holding this. So that's a little bit of a hot spot for me right about there, but not anywhere else. Yeah, that's about it. There you go. Keep doing our close-ups before we end this little video. Sometimes I forget to do a close-up of the knife, and I'm like, geez, people wanted to watch this because they wanted to see it. There's your angry eagle. Cool. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. We're getting close to 15 minutes. Thank you again, Mr. Zach. I love the knife. I carry it very, very, very often. I hope you are enjoying your spoils of your trade too. Like I said, I'm super happy with that trade, so don't worry about it. You know what I'm talking about. I love this thing. I carry it all the time. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and consider subscribing. I post pretty much every day. Thanks again, guys. Catch you on the next one.